positivity, motivation, never settle for average. We do it over here. When the youngsters out there are talking about there's no OGs to give them the game or to lace them up, but at the same time, a lot of times these youngsters don't want to hear it unless you're somebody who's a professional athlete, ex-athlete, rapper. These youngsters basically want to shit on you. Some of them listen, but a lot of them think that because you don't have the material things, your message is not relevant. And what they don't realize is that that message is God speaking to you. Because once you get in the den of thieves and them prison walls, it's too late. Everything that the OG told you before you got locked up is too late. Because now you got to deal with your surrounding environment. And you wonder why the majority of young black youth are going backwards. Not all of them. There's some good ones out there. They don't get enough credit. Shout out to all my young men who are achieving high GPAs, who are getting scholarships, who are pursuing their dreams, who are being squares, nerds, whatever you want to call them. Man, you guys are winning. And although you might seem like you don't fit in right now or you're an outcast, at the end of the day, when you've gotten situated in your career, know that you're a champion, man. Because all those guys that were chastising you, making fun of you, maybe bullying you, they probably wasted a lot of their time in jails, in prison, lockup. It's funny how things come back full circle, man. But when I hear some of these celebrities talk, athletes talk, checking in, keeping it 100, keeping it real. This is all the bullshit they fed you guys to keep the prison pipeline thriving, to keep you dumbed down, to keep you out of certain places because you've already set up the mental roadblocks. And what I mean by that is, if I can keep you in a state of ignorance, in a state of gang banging, gangster shit, street stuff, you'll never think about putting on a suit or applying for a business loan or creating a corporation or getting out the hood or leaving that street that you got tattooed on you and pursuing something bigger. Because when you get to, like I said, the pen, you'll run across some people who may have traveled and you'll be like, wow, man, I wish I could go there. I wish I can go there. But you can't go nowhere because you got 20, 30 years for a murder. Or you got 40 years for a murder bank robbery or a murder robbery or a conspiracy. See, it's too late. You hear these stories and it's like you can't go nowhere. See, when you're free right now, when the game is being laced to you, you can basically say, you know what? I'm going to take a trip and just disappear. You ain't got to tell nobody what you're doing. If you want to change your life, man, just leave, just disappear. But once you get inside those walls, you ain't going nowhere. And then when you get out, everything's stacked against you. You got to figure out your job. You got to figure out a place to live. You got to figure out your means of travel. All these things, you got to start fresh. Do you know how hard it is to start a life again fresh after 20 years, after even 10 years, even 5 years, trying to get a new driver's license, trying to get an apartment, trying to get a car, trying to figure out how to get to a job, how to get a job, how to keep that job. You guys, man, I'm telling you, Not all of you, a lot of you guys listen. I see the comments. A lot of you guys are on the right track. But I think, my message is trying to save those kids who have so much potential before they realize it's too late. You wake up and you're on a hard ass concrete slab bunk with a plastic mattress. And your alarm clock is the clinking of keys opening up a door. Lining up in the morning to go to some chow hall that looks like it's something out of a movie. Sterilized, metal trays, plastic spoons, all this ugliness, and it traumatizes you. You don't realize it, but it does something to you. I didn't realize it until later on. I spent a lot of time in juvenile lockup, uh, federal lockup, and it traumatizes you, and you don't. It takes years to kind of cope with that and try to figure out why there's certain things you do that have been impacted by your previous experiences. But listening to this, man, I mean, you tell me.
Yeah. A lot of y'all be in old block pulling up taking pictures. Where we at?
Tell them how they coming.
We in the middle of it. What you mean, nigga? Y'all pull up and take pictures and y'all not allowed to.
They sneak.
And one thing about it, if you're a real one, you don't mind checking in.
Checking in. What'd you say?
I check in with the real one. That's why I'm in the middle of old block.
Where you at?
You see the hoop?
Where you at?
I'm in the middle of old block. Listen, man.
Middle is bitch where the people's be, you know what I'm saying? Where the real people's be, man.
Shit you can't pay for.
Rap cap.
No rap cap. Shit you can't pay for. You mean? We really out here. Old block. Chi-Town. Rest in peace, King Vaughn. We in the middle of old block, ain't we? Quit playing, man. I'm everywhere, you never there.
So that's the kind of stuff that goes viral. And I'm not hating on the old block, Chicago, man. I got friends from Chicago. If I didn't care about the young black community, the young men, I wouldn't even put these videos out. I wouldn't even bring stuff like this out. But when I see that, why is that kid even out on the streets at that time? What is he doing hanging out? And why is this grown man not telling this dude, like, dude, look, man, don't you got school tomorrow? Well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Does anybody ever ask these dudes what they want to be when they grow up? I've been around a lot of different cultures, man, and when I see the progression and where black culture was in the 60s prior to the civil rights, and now we went backwards. The East Indians have came out here and passed us up. The Koreans passed us up. The Chinese, the Japanese, even the Vietnamese, the Armenians, the Russians, the Hispanics, because they know how to work together, do businesses. A lot of the South Americans, they have a sense of family, pride. They work together. They're trying to grow. And like I said, I'm not talking about everybody black, but I'm just talking about the ones I see. And the reason I talk about this so much, because one of the most depressing things when you were in prison, or when I was in prison, was I used to see these buses roll up and they're like, oh man, who got dropped off today? Where was the bus from? Were there any homies on there? And I'm like, damn, man. These dudes are getting excited if another dude they know is locked up with them so they can hang out. God. That shit is disgusting, man. It's different if you're at a function in the street and you're at a party, like, oh, what's up, man? Oh, man, what's up? I didn't know you were going to be here, but you're in prison. Oh, man, what's up, man? Oh, dude, yeah, man, I ain't seen you in years. Yeah, I've been locked up for that murder, man. I've been up here, and I didn't do it. You know how many times I've talked to real killers and I didn't do it? Dude, these dudes are out here doing drive-bys all the time, shooting at people. They just got caught. A lot of you guys don't know the face of a murderer. You're thinking like mafia hitman, this dude over here you seen on the news. Man, I'm telling you, the majority of the dudes who have murdered, who said they haven't murdered, don't look like they're murderers. The whole time I was locked up, I didn't see anybody from the streets I knew. None of the people I grew up with came through there and was like, Big Herc, what's up, man? I did time with dudes I didn't know from the streets, but I made some good friends in there and I was able to do some positive things. But to think that you get excited when a bus rolls up and you got more homies and I'm not saying it's just black culture, there's some other it's just like, man, it's like a party in there. It's a party. Full blown party. Dudes hanging out, spreading and dude, it's like they don't even the family life on the street ain't even relevant. And maybe to a lot of these guys hanging out on these different blocks and hoods, man, they don't care about their grandmother or see, because when something happens and there's funeral costs or this happens, everybody, oh man, that's messed up. Well, if it's messed up, why'd you let him keep doing that dumb shit? If it's so messed up, this guy shot this guy did this person got hit. I mean, why are you still endorsing all that shit? The person's in the coffin, you got whatever gang representation you're acting like it's something. He's gone now. If he was such a good dude, why did you try to save him while he was alive? Why didn't you guys change your path? A lot of you guys are very smart. Why didn't you try to push that energy into a different direction? I've seen some of the stuff that dudes do in the pen and some of the things like when dudes got their back against the wall and they're, got a life and they're trying to go to appeals. They're doing all their own legal work. These guys could have been lawyers, man, but they're in prison now doing time, fighting for their life, going to a law library every day in their free time to try to get out of there with no money on their books, trying to hustle, whatever they're doing, if they're really trying to fight to get out. And there are some dudes in there who are innocent, and there are some dudes in there who did what they did. But the bottom line is, it's a horrible place. And to see this type of bullshit, it's like, dude, if I made it to the NBA, if I was a multi-millionaire, man, for one, I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not gonna put myself in some place where I know dudes might hate on me. And but rather than them hate on me, I'm gonna be like, yeah, what's up, man? You doing your I'm not even gonna play that game. You wanna come see me over here. But I'm gonna try to inspire these dudes to get up out of that. Dude, use what you have, your gift, and get up out of that. Why would I want you to keep doing that? Why would I be like, oh man, why would I sit here with a 15, 16, 17-year old and smoke weed or do whatever I'm doing with him or drink whatever I'm gonna do with him? Why would I want him to be doing that when I know that that's not what got me to the NBA, NFL, uh, a corporate executive? Why would I let him do that and not say something to him? And oh, I'm over here checking in. Checking in for what? What are we doing, man? We're our own people. We don't check in. We beat each other up. God, that's so. It's the black hole, and they get mad. They're gonna say some shit about me. A dude told me, man. He said, with dudes who've done time in California, you one of two things. You either, a dude who's institutionalized, or you're a coon. Which one are you? You don't know me, man. You damn hater. It's like, man, you got to be a dumbed down idiot in order to get people to appeal to you on a mass scale. When you're intelligent, you're articulate, you try to share good messages, you're a sellout, you're a coon, you're a wannabe, you don't like your race, blah, blah, all these negative things. Because you want to be somebody who has some sense. That's what the black culture promotes. I don't see it being promoted in the Indian culture. I don't see in East Indian culture. I don't see it being promoted in Vietnamese culture. I got Vietnamese friends. They don't do that. They work together. They have restaurants. They have stores. They have businesses. I don't see it being done with my Persian homeboys or my Armenian homies. I don't see them doing all that, talking about, oh man, I don't see them doing that. But we do it, and it's so cool, and people praise it. Smiling, oh yeah, man, that's so yeah, you right, you don't what's up, man? You know, I used to go to the park when I was 15, and before I started hanging out at that park, I was skateboarding and BMXing, man. I'd be out there all day doing hand plants and trying to do ollies and riding the little launch ramps and all that stuff. And, I would see these dudes. There was a house on my street, and there'd be a bunch of dudes, black dudes, old dudes up in there. Some of these dudes went to school with my mom, and I tell you, man, it was like a weird feeling. You go by there, you almost be like intimidated. Like these are like some niggas, man. And I'd be like, oh, drive by there and feel intimidated. And then like if you had to walk by there, you try to walk by there fast. It was kind of like a very uncomfortable feeling. And then, I would see dudes walking down the street, and some of these dudes do rags, some of these dudes had wife beaters on, lokes on, and uh, they see me, look crazy. They didn't really say nothing crazy, and then I'm like, eventually, I got caught up trying to fit into that, even though I didn't ever drink or really smoke any weed or nothing like that. Um, I got caught up with the whole idea of trying to be a drug dealer at 15, straight A student, man. And I felt like I was at a crossroads. So I left skateboarding because there was no black skaters at my school, man. And skateboarding, they didn't have skate parks and all that stuff back then. It was just Thrasher and Trans World. But I got some rocks and went to that park. And I wasn't supposed to go to the park. My mom used to tell me don't go to the park. And then I went to that park and I short stopped and made some money. And then I flipped my little allowance money, right? But when I started hanging out at that park and I'm around these dudes, and I'm probably one of the youngest dudes out there, me and my friend, and these dudes are in their late 20s, early 30s. None of them check me. None of them be like, they be like, oh, you out here trying to get this money? I'm like, yeah. So I'm being tough to try to let them know I'm getting my money. But nobody's like, man, why are you even out here? Man, you should be focusing on school, man. This is some loser shit. Yeah, I'm out here, man. But look, I know better. You're young, man. You got this. Nobody told me anything, so I'm just hanging out. And I'm thinking that, hey, man, I'm a part of this grown man game, man. I'm out here with these dudes, and I'm start, taking on certain type of traits, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be out here and get my money because I want to, let them know I'm not no punk. I'm hard. I'm tough. And man, I bought into the biggest crock of shit, man. Do you know how long it took me to realize that was a turning point in my life, man? And it took me 3 different times doing time to snap out of that. So now when I put these videos out, that's one of the reasons. If you're skateboarding, you're playing your video, whatever you're doing, man, don't let somebody trick you into thinking that being tough, being hard, taking pictures with guns, carrying weapons to school, that's gonna make you somebody. Man, sometimes you gotta reach out, man. It doesn't mean you're weak or you're scared. I remember telling my mom one time I was getting bullied. I was embarrassed. I told my mom, I said, man, this guy keeps he's he's intimidating me. So I was scared to go to the roller skating ring, right? So my mom, she escorted me to the roller skating ring, right? And I'm trying to skate up there, but I feel like a sucker, man. I felt like a sucker, but this kid was a lot bigger than me. I'm like 12, 11. This kid's like 16, right? So my next move was I told some of the homies that I went to school with about this dude, right? And man, these my little Filipino gangster homies, they went up to that dude's school and checked him. After that, he was cool as a fan. And I lived on a military base. They checked his ass. And I never had no more problems for him, but I handled it in the way, first I tried my mom. That was kind of like, it didn't feel right because I wasn't able to still feel like I had taken my place back. And this dude was bigger than me. The only way I could really fight this dude, literally, I would have to have a weapon. And so I told my homies, and they had some cousins that was around his age, and man, dude, he acted real cool towards me after that. But sometimes, man, it's not a cop out, man. You got to do things because, like I said, once you get in the system, you catch one of these murders, man. You catch a body, and you catch a body, bro. You're for the rest of your life, you're looking over your shoulders because DNA never goes away. But it's not a good feeling, man. And like I said, my whole thing is trying to save these lives out here. And I never had an older brother. I never really had uncle or anybody giving me really hardcore game. I was just a lost kid trying to find my way. And I found my way through different things, trying stuff. But one of the things I tried was the criminal shit, and it got me caught up. And I wish I would have never tried it. So leave a comment, share the channel, watch this with your kids, man. And dude, I know like these NBA players, these Hollywood people, these rappers, they have way more of an impact than you do as a parent than I do. They have way bigger followings, but my message just save lives. These people, man, they don't care, man. If they did, they wouldn't be endorsing this shit. They wouldn't be acting like it's a rite of passage or it's like so cool and bragging about it. They wouldn't be doing that, man. That's some straight bullshit, man. But leave a comment, subscribe, man. BigHerc916, and I would like to introduce you to Little Herc's Big Lessons. My wife and I decided to come out with a children's book series that encourages young children to be strong, to make good choices, and also teach valuable lessons. Lesson 2, Speak with Strength. At school, Little Herc's classmate Maria looked upset. The bigger kids were teasing her about her artwork. Hey, Little Herc said, stepping forward, Maria's art is awesome. Let's show some respect. The bigger kids shuffled their feet and walked away. Maria smiled at Little Herc. Thanks, Herc. You're always brave enough to stand up for what's right. Little Herc felt proud. Speaking up is what strong people do. You can pick up the book, link in the description.
The popos are
share
coming.
with your
I
kids.
gotta hurry up and wash my ass. Go to BigHerc916.com, pick you up a bar of soap, and wash your ass, or else you're gonna be under arrest too. Oh,
That's a bad kid. Officially, I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight-A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey against all odds.